Hello all, we're going to take a little break from the typical tutorials. In this video, I wanted to discuss fun hypothetical game features. So earlier this morning, I pitched an idea on the Northwind subreddit. I asked the devs for a Japanese, Orient-related update with katanas and bow staffs and kunai knives and all that. And people were very quick to point out that there was no way any of these Japanese goods I proposed to implement would hit the New World market. There's no historically accurate way that James Bay, this little town in 1700s Canada, would have access to any of this shit. Now, I am fully aware of the fact that Japan did not give a flying fuck about the outside world until the mid-1800s. However, I don't think that's a good reason for the devs to limit their game. I don't think they should always stick to rigid historical accuracy if it's going to ruin a bunch of fun new game features. And besides, all the negative criticism I received on that post was about isolationist Japan, not about whether or not the features I presented are good ideas. So the first big introduction I'd like to see would be a short sword variant of some kind. This would be small, craftable at expert or master smithing, and deal relatively low damage with very quick swipes. Theoretically, I'd like to see this get 6 or 7 hits out of a full stamina bar, which is slightly better than the tomahawk, which gets 5 or 6 hits, but not as many as a knife or bayonet, with both get 8 hits. I'd also expect around 30 damage per hit, and I expect it to hit very quickly, as quick as tomahawks do. This is essentially an option to counter boarding axes and boarding axe users. Additionally, gems could be mounted in the hilt or something cool like that. I don't really know, but gems need more uses, so this is what I could think of. Now, my second idea is some sort of poisoned lead balls, or poison arrows, or poison fucking bolts, or something projectile-y poison-related. Long-range fights are pretty lame right now because everybody heals themselves. This feature would help to fix all the boring long-range gunfights, adding something new to the meta. You'd have to carry antidote now, and those who don't will die eventually. These poison projectiles, whatever they may be, would be a tiered unlock in small quantities at the bounty hunting board. Now, obviously, this feature would require a lot of balancing, but it's just an idea. So this suggestion I only saw recently, but I thought it was cool as hell, so I thought I'd include it. He suggests the blowgun, or blowpipe as he calls it. This blowgun weapon and its darts could be craftable by both colonists and natives. Colonists could poison the darts with poison bottles, while natives could poison them with some sort of new poison fruit or berry. This would change up the ranged combat meta, which would be a very cool thing to see. Now this feature would be pretty damn overpowered, obviously, so poison would have to be made rarer, antidote would have to last for a set amount of time or some shit, but I still think it's very much worth consideration when it comes down to what goes into the next update. My final suggestion is kind of a big one. It's an entirely new game mechanic revolving around a new type of knife, the throwing knife. These would be craftable. They take longer to skin animals than regular knives would, but they would be throwable. These knives would deal 20 damage when stabbing, just like regular knives, but they deal 40 damage when thrown, which is the plus side. This makes the knife kind of a good emergency weapon for new players. In tandem with the throwing knife, I'd introduce a throwing knife bandolier. This special bandolier wouldn't have the inventory boost that the regular bandolier has currently, but it'd be able to hold knives. It'd be a bounty hunting tier 3 unlockable or something. The way this would work is, if you have a throwing knife in your hand and then you throw it, you'll be able to automatically take another from the bandolier. Now, this would kind of interfere with the viability of regular knives and how the utility slot works. For example, if you have an axe equipped or some shit, you won't be able to throw your knives. So I suggest adding in a ninth of the little hotbar bubble slots just specifically for throwing knives. So you can equip your regular knife or your shovel or whatever the fuck you want in one slot, and you can have your throwing knives in the other slot. Kind of complicated to explain without visuals, but that's the best I can do, man. The throwing knife slot would have like a little counter on to tell you how many throwing knives you got in it. Maximum of 4, with 1 equipped on you, and then 3 in the bandolier. So I don't really expect these ideas to appear in game. I mean, a lot of them are far-fetched and require loads of balances, not to mention being historically inaccurate for the time period, but, I can dream. I'm hopeful that at least one of these ideas appears in the next couple updates, but we really won't know until they arrive. Thank you all for watching. We'll have more interesting content out soon, I'm sure.